This is definitely a thing. So anybody that's company went through a massive round of layoffs, say in the last year, and their company still isn't performing well, they're still having problems, you're going to start to see an uptick in the number of people that go on performance review. Why is that? Well, a lot of them don't want to pay layoff packages again. First of all, when a company lays off, their unemployment insurance goes way up. The government starts charging extra because they're drawing off the unemployment claims. So they don't want that to keep happening. Also, when they lay off, they think, well, anybody who survived the layoff should feel like they're really lucky to have a job and should be going the extra mile. So if they're not getting that vibe from you, that you're really trying to exceed expectations and hold on to your job, now all of a sudden it can feel like you're underperforming. Right? Even though you were doing the very same thing you were doing before, now you feel like you aren't hustling enough for them and they'll call that a performance issue. Is it right? No, of course it isn't right, but it's what happens, okay? So here's what I need to do. I need to protect you. If you get on a performance review like this and you get laid off, you want to start thinking about how you're going to explain that in an interview, because you're going to be asked, why'd you leave your last job? And some people here will tell you, oh, just lie. I just can't endorse that. Way too many future employers are going to reference check you. And while some states ban being able to say anything about you, there are other states where they can answer questions like, are you eligible for rehire? I also know a lot of recruiters that know how to do something called a backdoor reference check, where they're going to touch base with people that you knew to try to get the real story. Companies are very gun shy right now about hiring. They do not want to pull the trigger on a hire only to find out they're not going to work out. So if you see my last TikTok, you'll see it's getting a lot harder to get hired, which means you have to have a better answer to this question. So my advice is to follow something called the Experience, Learn, and Grow model. I teach it in a course over at Work It Daily called Fired to Hired. And in it, I break down, first thing you want to do is talk about the facts, Hey, I'm glad you asked that question. My company did a massive layoff 6 months ago. 100 plus people got laid off. And then in the last 6 months, we've all been working, and all of a sudden another 20 people have been put on performance review. And these were all people that made it through the layoff and were considered top performers. For me, that was the case. And it's unfortunate. I think what I've learned is when my company goes through a layoff, then I need to really think about how I'm going to step up my game, or maybe start looking for another job, because I'm one person. I can't control the outcome of the company, but I do never want to be in this situation again. I don't want to be without a job. I certainly don't want to ever be put on performance review. I've never been put on one before, and it just seems a little odd that it happened right after the layoff, as well as it happened to a lot of other people. But for me, it's all about learning and growing from the experience. So this is what I want to do going forward. Some kind of version of that answer in your own words, in your own voice, is going to help them understand the situation. It's going to sound objective, and you're going to be showing your accountability. And that's really the key. And if you want to learn how to do more of that, check out my new TikTok series on behavioral questions. I think it can help you. Go get them.